Hey guys, this is Jamie at selfdefenseguy.com. You can find us on the Instagram at selfdefenseguy, on YouTube at selfdefenseguy TV. You can find us on Facebook at selfdefenseguy UK or on Twitter at selfdefenseguy1. I'm going to finish off the previous vlog I did on the F3 response. That's the the F3 fight, flight, freeze response. Thinking about our natural adrenaline-based responses, our hormone responses to violence, to fear, to danger. And I'm going to focus a little bit around the freeze response. So the freeze response is what happens to all of us. It doesn't matter whether you're a double-eyed trained super ninja, or you're just, some person that's been out to get the shopping and they encounter a problem, a threat, a violent situation, demand for money or mugging or whatever. We'll all freeze to different degrees. One of the aims of training, martial arts training, self-defense training, is to try and eliminate that freeze response or minimize it as much as possible by giving ourselves situations that we can recognize, that we feel comfortable in, that we can operate in, but it will happen to all of us. So when we think about the freeze response, we don't need to think about eliminating it. We can't eliminate it, but it's about giving us the skills and tactics to push through the freeze response. That is, continue regardless and acknowledging that we will freeze and we have frozen and we need to act and we need to do something about it. So training, so I'm going to list some tactics here for dealing with the freeze response. Training is number one. If you can get to a good martial arts class, a good self-defense class that understands violence, the instructor understands violence, has had training in violence, has real life experience, and or has had people that have had real life experience feed into their syllabuses and their training drills, please make sure that at some point of proficiency, not suitable for beginners, but you need to be training in messed up situations, you need to be training outside, in closed environments, in light, you need to be training with your tops off, your tops on, in full gear, in boots, etc., etc. Because we become more comfortable with the different range of messed up scenarios. Rory Miller, who I draw on quite a lot with this sort of theoretical stuff around the F3 response, he's very good on this. He's an ex-prison officer, he's been there and seen it, and sort of violence he's planned for or violence that's happened to him suddenly. Advocates this a lot, this stress drill based training. It's really, really key when we think about dealing with our adrenaline response, because it gives us something we can go to, something we're used to. It also touches a little bit on what we call the capacity and capability conundrum, so the 3C conundrum, which is you can develop a skill base, your ability to do something, but your capability to do it, your capability to harm another human being, your capability to respond is very different to your capacity. So it's something to consider. Just because we know how to throw a punch doesn't mean we'll throw a punch well or be able to throw a punch that will injure someone or consciously injure someone, even in our own defence when the time comes. So tactics, one, choose to flee. If you can run, absolutely run, but as self-defense instructors, as one myself, and it was something I covered in my ladies self-defense class last week, is try to advocate running, but running to safety, not running away from the danger. It's absolutely right that we run from the danger, but don't blindly run. You just create another problem. Think about running for doors, running for exits, running towards groups of people, running towards light. This is all good advice. It gives someone something to think about rather than just run away. Run to solve the problem, solve it. Don't just get away from it, solve the problem. So other tactics that can work, you can talk yourself through events. It's a bit of a longer scenario sort of response. Paramedics do it, emergency room doctors do it. When a patient comes in, they talk themselves through sort of the sex, the race, the age, type of injuries, basic facts of the event, what drugs they've had. And whilst that's all useful information, there's a psychological tweak to it as well that allows them to think about what they're doing, being in the moment, focusing on what's right in front of them, as opposed to thinking about the potential consequences, where it might go, what might not go right. You start to doubt yourself, then you start to introduce nerves. Nerves plus doubt equals a reinforcing circle. Well, nerves plus doubt, and then failure to perform. So start to talk yourself through what's happening. Start to think about next step only. This brings me to my next point. Third point is visualize. Visualize a positive outcome. In all your training, visualize a positive outcome and make it so. Don't think about what might go wrong. In a messed up situation, they say there are 4 things in a fight. There's you, there's the threat, there's the environment, and there's luck. If you've expended your opportunity to deal with the first 3 and luck is involved, you need to start thinking about things like control chaos type strategies. Something we pick up on in class, which is introduce randomness. So if you're wrestling, it's a stalemate, or someone's attacking you with a knife and they've stabbed you once, you don't want them to stab you again, but you don't feel like you can stop the motion. Throw yourself down some stairs, roll into traffic. you know, slam yourself into the ground, throw yourself off a table, whatever the situation might be, you're already losing. You need to introduce something that rocks them, changes the playing field, and essentially introduces a little bit of luck into the equation. So yes, when we think about this, please think about visualizing a win, a positive outcome for you. There are sort of smaller things you can use, taking deep breaths, psychologically, physiologically, you know, flood your body with air and oxygen. It's very good sort of to be ready. Also, it gives you something to focus on. It allows you to use your senses to breathe, to feel the world around you. Small movements can help, tapping foot, tightening, contracting muscles, these sorts of things. It helps you feel, you know, appear assertive without appearing nervous. Depends on the situation, you know, if there's a job requirement or something like that where you need to be calm and focused rather than appearing nervous and agitated. It's a very, very good thing to focus on, is small movements. In terms of the adrenaline response, you can't totally eliminate it, and don't try and eliminate it. You shouldn't. It's good for you in a dangerous situation. It gives you, you know, it's like pushing the turbo button. It gives you the ability to push through injury. It gives you the ability to push through pain. It gives you the ability to perform 100 miles an hour. Okay, it doesn't last forever. That's where training, endurance, and fitness and skills come in. But you know, it's nature's way of helping you. It's the hormone dump is nature's way of helping you. So please, you know, don't try and eliminate it. Don't try and get rid of it at all. Accept it and push through it and use it. You know, and the best overall way of becoming accustomed to adrenaline, the adrenaline response, is to do things that scare you. You know, parachute jumping, rock climbing, martial arts, sport fighting, anything where you can have the confidence to take control of an adrenaline response. Brilliant, great translation for self-defense. To summarise, there's no real way to control an adrenaline response. There's no real way to manage it. It will happen. You have no choice over it. All you can do is prepare yourself for when it happens through training, and then when it does happen, have various strategies in place that can help you use it to your advantage. Get some training that's appropriate to real life, introduces strange things that push you into an adrenalized state, and practice those with a winning mindset and with the strategies in mind. Okay guys, so that's me for today. Fight, flight, freeze response, F3 response. You know, if you want to do some reading around on this, Rory Miller's book Facing Violence is very, very good on this. Facing Violence is very, very good on the adrenaline response. Absolutely recommend it, and you know, I would certainly seek it out and read it. It's quite accessible to everyone. So Jamie at Self Defense Guy. So if you want to email me, you can. Some of you do with your thoughts and you know, opinions, etc. You can find me on the Insta at Self Defense Guy. You can find me on the Facebook at Self Defense Guy UK, Twitter Self Defense Guy 1, or you can find me on the YouTube at Self Defense Guy TV. Stay safe, guys. Bye.